Welcome back to LearnPianoLive.com. My name is Jamin, and as you can tell from the countdown clock, the lesson is about to get started. In case you're new with this, there's a few things I'd like to show you to help you throughout the lesson. So this lesson is about reharmonization. That means we're going to take an existing song and we're going to find new chords to play over the same melody. Now, that means that you're probably going to need to already know about chords and keys and probably intervals, and probably have already several songs that you can play well enough that they actually sound like the song. But even if you can't do that, you might pick up some interesting theory bits along the way. So feel free to join us. The goal, though, is not this song. It's not about the song that we're working on. It's really about taking the concepts you like, the reharmonizations, the substitutions that you like from this lesson, and then applying them to other songs that you already know how to play. These lessons are always guided and shaped by your questions, and if you're live with us today, there's a couple different ways you can do that. One is in the public live chat, and the other is the Ask Jamin a Question button, where you can ask me a question privately, and I won't share your identity in case you're afraid that your question is stupid. But it's not. If you're in the archives, though, then just open up the survey. At the end of that, there's a place where you can ask your question. I will say I frequently get questions from students in the archives watching a lesson from 6 months ago, and I have no idea what they're talking about. So please try to be as specific as possible. If you're watching this at LearnPianoLive.com, there should be a PDF and an MP3 button right next to this video. The PDF will often have additional video links inside, so you can get more in-depth instruction on each of the topics. And if you're the kind of person who likes to print out the PDF so you can make the same notes on your physical version as I'm making during the lesson, now would be the time to do that. The MP3 is just a play-along track so you can practice more after the lesson. In traditional lessons, a teacher is going to actually present some new concept for maybe 5 or 10 minutes every couple weeks. The rest of the time is going to be spent applying and refining those concepts. Well, here I'm spouting off hours of new information every week, so it's totally unreasonable to expect you to actually absorb all of that. Instead, the goal of these live lessons is for you to find some little nugget of something that makes sense, but is a bit of a challenge, and for you to go practice it, because practice is where all the improvement's going to happen. So don't feel bad if you have to leave the live lesson when you find that little thing that you're going to practice. And of course, if I'm going too fast, you can always rewind the live lessons or replay in the archives as much as you want. If these live lessons start feeling random or meandering, it's because they are, on purpose. So if you're the kind of person who wants classical training with a step-by-step method, then you're going to want to check out Kloppel Academy on the website. It's included in your live lesson subscription, so you can do both or either. And the upper levels are seriously hard work, but it's going to take you all the way from ground zero all the way up to being ready to enter any major music college as a piano major in classical or jazz. And thankfully, I think that's about all we need to cover before the lesson. So if you'd stick around afterwards and fill out the survey, I would love your feedback. But for now, let's have some fun and make some music. Welcome back to lesson 674 of Learn Piano Live. This is the incomparable Kendra.
Guess what? I had a really fun New Year's at my grandma's house, and we got to play games and hang out, and it made me even happier that it's 2021, because goodbye 2020, sayonara.
Yeah, right.
I'm very happy.
Yeah. That's the thing about these these lessons. Like, most people watch them in the archives, and every now and then I'll go watch one in the archives and we'll like make some reference to that stuff, and then we're like, oh, you have no idea what's coming up. So hopefully that's not one of those. Like, everyone will watch that and go, oh yeah, 2020, that was the worst year ever.
Right.
And yeah.
Can't possibly get any worse is what we're all saying.
That's so terrifying. I know. Okay, well, let's jump into this. What we do have for today that we know of for sure is reharming House the Rising Sun. And as of last week, no, not last week, last lesson, you should have been able to play the chords, or at least know how to practice to play the chords. So you could do something like this. Key her up a little bit, too. Key her up a little bit.
They call the rising sun, and it's been the ruin of many a poor boy. In God I know I'm one.
So those are all just the chords there that we would play in the right hand. And let's go ahead and zoom out to the full keyboard so we can see what's going on here. So this is not really a beginner lesson. It's like the beginner reharm thing, and reharm is not really a beginner concept. But hopefully you can already do that. That's the jumping off point, is play the original chords along with the track. And then from there, we're going to go to learnpianolive.com/reharm, or if you go down to the bottom of the page 2, 3, and 4, these are the same things here on your PDF. So the first thing, before we actually do any reharms, first two things we want to do are add in 7s and 9s and 6s, and then also play the 5 of any chord before it. So we're going to try to do both of those things here before we actually look at our reharm stuff. So that just means we're going to put a 7 on all these guys. Some of these we're going to put a major 7 on, and I'll tell you which ones we're going to put a major 7 on and which ones we're going to put a 7 on. The difference between the major 7 and the 7 is that on a regular 7, the 7, the note that we're adding in, is a whole step below the root. So let me first show you this one. This is going to be a major 7, or the triangle right there. And so that just means that we're going to play the regular C chord, but we're going to add in the note that's a half step below the C. So that one right there. And then the 9 is always going to be 2 half steps above the root of the chord, C being the root of a C. So if we add in the 7, it'd be that one, and that would be the 9 right there. So that's the C major 7 or C major 9 chord right there. It's a C chord where we've taken the root and exploded it in both directions, half step down and a whole step up to give us the 7 and the 9. So we start with an A minor with a 7 and a 9, and that's going to be a whole step in both directions. So we take that root and we explode it a whole step in both directions. So that's the A minor 9 right there, to C major 9, to a D7. So in this case, we're going to go a whole step in both directions. So take that D, and that's our 7 and our 9. So we've got the A minor 7, A minor 9, C major, D7, and then the F, we're going to make that a major. So we're going to go to the F chord and then take this root, explode it a half step to the left and a whole step to the right. And that's our F major 7. Again, the difference between the major 7 and the 7 is just that, the distance between the root and the 7 of the chord. And the 7, of course, is, not of course, it doesn't make any sense at all unless you've taken this lesson before. The 7 is the 7th note in the scale. So in the F major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That is the 7 of it. So that's the 1, that's the 7, but in this case, we're playing the F up here. So that 7 is just a half step away. If that did not make sense, let me know, and I can explain that in greater detail or point you in the direction of that lesson that goes with the chord building. So then we're back to these chords again: A major 7, C major, E7 here, and then A minor 7, C major 7, and then D7, F major 7, A minor 7, E7, and A minor 7. If you were doing these on your own and you didn't know whether to make them major 7s or 7s, then I would recommend just going according to the key. So in this case, we're in the key of A minor or C major. So just pretty much as possible, pick all white notes, and you should be safe in the key of C. So that's the A minor chord with the 7 and the 9 that fit inside the key of C. All white notes. That's the C with the 7 and the 9 that fit inside of the key. This is a D chord. We're picking the 7 and the 9 that fit inside of the key of C. So picking all white notes as much as possible. And that, along with the track, just adding in 7s and 9s, not even doing any other reharm stuff, would sound something like this.
There is a house in New Orleans. They call the rising sun, and it's been the ruin of many a poor boy. In God I know I'm one.
Yeah, okay, cool. So if you could do that already, that's great. That might be the extent of what you want to work on for this reharm lesson, because it already sounds like a different version of the song, even though the chords are all the same. And then if you wanted to, we could invert these as well. So in the same way that when we have the A minor chord, we could put the A and the C and the E in any order that we want. So A and C and E, or A and C and E, or A and C and E. That's an A minor as well, right there. So we can put these in any order that we want. As long as it's A and C and E, it's still an A minor. Well, G and B and C and E, and actually A in there as well, because that's the root of the chord. Those notes in any order also make up the A minor 9 chord. So this right here is also an A minor 9. It's just the exact same notes, but in a slightly different order. Or that, or that, or that, or any of these are just different inversions of the same chord. So now with using some inversions, it would sound something like this. Is there a way to get more?
A house in New Orleans. They call the rising sun, and it's been the ruin of many a poor boy. And God, I know one.
So again, we haven't really reharmed this at all. I'm just playing these chords with 7s and 9s in them. And then the next recommendation is play the 5 of any chord before the chord. And this is the beginning of almost reharmonizing. This is really just interpolation, sticking chords in between chords that already exist. So we're not changing any of the chords yet. But we are making room for more reharm ideas by just thinking about the 5s before the chords. So an example of that would be before this C chord. Right here, the 5 of the C chord is actually a note that we're already playing. So that's the 1, the 3, and the 5. So the 5 of the C chord is a G. So we could just play a G chord before the C, and that's going to lead into it. One more example of this would be like going to the D chord. Right here, we could play the 5 of the D. That's the D chord, and that is the 5 of the D, and that's an A. So we could just play an A right here, and that would lead into the D. Let me show you this real quick before we take a break here. So just adding in the G leading into the C major 7, and then the A leading into the D would sound something like this.
There is a house in New Orleans.
Yeah, okay, cool. Let's go one more time. That's a lot.
There is a house in New Orleans.
I'm digging it so far. So we will get back to this in just a second, but first let's take a quick break.
Hey Jamin, it's time for our feature of the day, which today is the question of the day.
Yeah, right. And so this one is just, I want to open up this question for you guys, because I know like some of you guys feel bad about like telling me about other great sites that you've been to. Like you find some other music education site and you're like, oh yeah, well, I went to this other one, and you feel like guilty. Like, but that's totally cool. And I appreciate all of the recommendations that you guys have, because I can make those same recommendations to other students who are looking for something from those sites, or I can go and steal their ideas and make our site even better. So if you've got a site that you're going to and you like that place and you're also over here, then let me know what you like about that place. Maybe we can incorporate some of those ideas, or at least I can have that as a resource so that someone else who's looking for something we don't provide here, I can pass that along to other students. So always let me know what your other favorite sites are. If you can think of one that you like right now, let us know in the chat, or fill out the survey and let me know what your other favorite music education sites are, or other just music related sites, because I love to have a long list of resources I can pass along to students. Okay, let's get back to this after this short break. So sadly, the lesson preview has come to an end, and it's time to say goodbye to everyone watching the free streams. Of course, paying subscribers at learnpianolive.com can continue watching this lesson and several hundred others like it in the archives. So come on over and check us out, and if you like what you saw, at least like and subscribe, and then tell your friends to head on over to learnpianolive.com to start enjoying this journey with us.